Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-up Call podcast. My name is Melissa Deely and I am your host. And if you are a new listener, I just want to let you know that this podcast is all about providing you health education, health tips that you can take and implement into your life on easily in order to start improving your health, and always with a holistic approach. And this month, I am really focusing on highlighting that holistic approach. And as such, today's episode is a bit of a unique episode, something I've never done before. But this podcast has now been in existence for just over 18 months. And during that time, I have interviewed many amazing practitioners, healers, coaches, and I am going to do a compilation episode here where I am sharing all of the audiograms from each of those episodes. So a key point of wisdom from each of these people, just to highlight for you how much access you have to holistic forms of healing, whether it's healing body, mind, emotions, spirit, and so that you know these resources are available to you. And so I'm going to introduce each episode with the episode number and the name of the interviewee and their title, so that you know which episode to go back and listen to in full if one of those audiograms resonates with you, or hopefully more than one. And you will then know how to reach out to those people if they are someone that you feel might be able to support you on your healing journey. And as I said in a previous episode, don't feel overwhelmed or I don't know who I should reach out to, or there's too many people. All of these people will be willing to have a complimentary call with you just so that you can get to know them, they can get to know you. And from there, you will be able to start narrowing down who it is that you might like to work with, who it is that you believe can help you. And they also have to believe that they can help you too. And if you end up with a few people and you can't decide between them, then celebrate the fact that you have so many available resources in your path, in your healing journey, and simply draw straws, put names in a hat, choose one of them some way, but definitely move forward and seek their help. So it is with great excitement that I bring you this episode with all of these amazing resources in one place to share just how many people are out there that can help you on your healing journey. Episode 2. Anne Crook. Anne is a certified integrative nutrition health coach and holding space consultant.
I believe that the water is so healing and so powerful, and it's really a symbol of our feminine nature as women and living with a greater sense of ease rather than dis-ease. And so when I think about my work with breast cancer survivors, not only do I envision these healing retreats near the ocean, but I also am a certified holding space consultant now. And I hold space for people moving through life-changing situations, whether it be grief and loss of a loved one or a life-altering diagnosis, like I went through chronic illness, divorce, a breakup. I hold space for people to navigate these thresholds, I call them, with greater ease, and to attune to the body's wisdom so the client can make deeper meaning making and integrate that experience moving forward.
Episode 8, Elizabeth Schaefer. Elizabeth is an occupational therapist.
When they were playing these games and then they would go to sleep, they were having the same brain activity when they were sleeping as they had during the game. So they weren't resting. And I think that for us as parents, we have to understand just because their eyes are closed doesn't mean that their brain and body is actually getting to that reset. And for my kids, and especially our kids that are very sensitive and have the neurotypical, it's really important for them to have that moment to just be rested, because if their little nervous system is not having a chance to reboot and they're going and carrying from what they just had the day before, it's really, really hard. So especially our kids with autism, ADHD, sleep is so important.
Episode 14, Mandy Gelfi. Mandy is a registered nurse as well as a licensed holistic nutrition practitioner.
I feel like the trouble is the way that the system comes down. It doesn't offer the time to really venture into, okay, our body responds to what we do consistently over time. Okay, let that sink in for a minute. It takes consistency over time to create a situation within our body. So in order to fix a problem that's been created by our habits, that underlying habit actually needs to shift and possibly change in order for us to create a new consistency and for us to create a new result.
Episode 16, Olivia Ward. Olivia is a holistic wellness practitioner.
Now we're restricting the air quotes again, the bad foods so much that we're actually creating a stress on our body, which is not ideal either. So there's going to be times where we choose to eat processed foods because in that moment, that actually might be what's best for us, right? If we're celebrating something special to us, someone made us a homemade, beautiful cookie that there was so much love put into it. Our time is limited. We're already in a stress state. There's times when we're going to make different food choices. We're not always going to choose a nourishing food, but it's understanding why we're making those choices. And for the most part, choosing the nutrient dense food. So when we choose something that isn't as nutrient dense, our body is not going to be thrown completely out of whack because of that.
Episode 18, Ken Keyes. Ken has a PhD and is an expert on leadership purpose, wellness, and the foremost global authority on personality and behavioral assessments.
Once I know who I am, my personhood, the self-awareness window that comes into all of this is that I can increase my resilience, I can increase my willpower, I can decrease my stress levels by knowing who I am. But here is what the majority of the people, 90% of the people that dislike what they do, mildly irritate the loathe. Here's why they're in that position, in our opinion, and that is because they've not been willing to do the work. And when I say do the work to get clear, to spend the time to journal, to figure out, why am I here? What am I doing? What am I good at? What do I love doing? What do I enjoy doing? And start being a student of your life, and all your life is constantly leaving clues, but most people are not paying attention to it. So why don't I pay attention to that? And then with that, start to optimize who you are.
Episode 20, Jenny Rice. Jenny is a mindset and accredited executive coach.
I am in an enlightened state, right? I am fully aware that stress is not good for me. Do I find myself in stressful moments again? Yes. But what's important about learning about stress and understanding your mindset around it is getting quicker to acknowledge when it's happening and creating tools around balancing it so that you can move into a more comfortable state. We don't have to constantly be hiding our stress. I put a voice to it, talk about it, share it with people. You don't have to do it all. And I think this is what happens to many of us. Just trust that there is a pathway to understanding how to manage stress in a healthy way.
Episode 24, Kathy Ashton. Kathy is a degreed, qualified medicinal nutritionist. So I'm super excited. Kathy Ashton and I just recorded a podcast, and it's on the topic of food and supplements instead of medicine. And Kathy, tell people why they need to tune into this episode we just did.
Because food is one of the most powerful things that we can use to actually heal our bodies. And when we use supplements along that are plant-based in particular, and we combine that with the power of food, we get an amazing healing modality without having to use Western medicine medicines. So if you want to learn all about it and how you can do it, and how I actually used food as medicine and my own supplements to help my fibromyalgia and to help my husband who has multiple sclerosis, and basically how I help all my patients, you want to tune into this episode and have a listen.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Enjoy the episode, everyone. Episode 25. Michael Rubino. Michael is an international mold remediation expert.
First off, I think you said a great word, holistic. And your environment is part of this holistic approach to health, right? And if you look at it, you have genetics, you have predispositions, right? You have lifestyle choices. And then you also have the environment. The environment is something that honestly is usually the last on the list, right? And, most people, I'm sure you've been through this, they're like, but I drink more water than I used to, or I eat better, they're like, I don't get it. And that's part of it for sure. That's a holistic approach. But the missing piece that I've always seen is the environmental aspect. And it's crazy because we take 20,000 breaths per day. And it's the last place we're looking in terms of what's coming into our body that we don't know about. And, so I think that just really putting it as part of the process from there forward, when you're looking to optimize your health, I think getting an air quality assessment is probably a good thing.
Episode 27, Kathy White. Kathy has been teaching yoga since the year 2000 and is trained in multiple yoga modalities. She is also a certified facilitator of the work of Byron Katie, a mindfulness system for questioning thoughts, and a UK-trained art psychotherapist.
The mode in which the modern lifestyle operates is do. Get busy, be active, get out, you got the kids, you got the job, you got the house, you got the car, you got this, that, the responsibilities, you got to run the business, you got to, whatever it is. And it's exhausting. And there are very few moments of true nourishment in that cycle of busyness. And so what yoga can do is just give you a pause button. It's like give it, I really encourage people to do it daily. That's what I try and do anyway. It's an hour a day, but just a pause in your day where you can just drop in, because people try meditation and mindfulness, and that's fantastic as well, to have that pause, that way of nourishing the soul, nourishing the whole system by stopping and pausing.
Episode 29, Charlene. Charlene is an acupuncturist.
It's actually a really simple reason why acupuncture is so effective in treating digestive disorders. Anything on that spectrum that you just talked about, even to really chronic inflammatory conditions like the autoimmune conditions, colitis or ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. And the simplistic nature of it is that I talked about acupuncture regulating the autonomic nervous system, which is split into two parts. One, we hear about all of the time, called the sympathetic nervous system. That's what we call the fight or flight. The flip side to that is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. We have scientific research now that proves time and time again that acupuncture puts our body into the parasympathetic mode, where you're able to rest and digest.
Episode 31, Annabelle Merriman. Annabelle is a life expansion expert.
And women, we like the moon And that's why I work with the moon, because there's all the different stage of the moon. So the feminine is represented by the moon, which is changeable, as we know. And then the masculine is the sun. The sun just come up every day the same. Yeah. And it has a direction. Yes. So the women, in our world, a lot of women have been wanting to do life and work life like a man, but they are women. So they totally disrespect their different emotions and the changes. And like when you have your period, you should be resting. You should be able to take a day off. You should be able to ask for help to other people so you can rest. And total disrespect to all of that. And like they're functioning totally like men, but they're still women. And there's this misalignment between who you really are, what you do, and what you can produce and how you feel about life.
Episode 33, Blair Kaplan Venables. Blair is an expert in social media marketing and has also created the I Am Resilient project.
I didn't know I was strengthening my resilience muscle when I started my gratitude practice. I just thought, hey, I would like to be happier and navigate the world better. And so I started that practice before I knew I needed to be resilient. So don't wait for your wake up call to have to be resilient. Don't wait till you hit a rock bottom. What can you control now that's going to prepare you for when life gets hard?
Episode 37, Carrie Castle. Carrie is a registered dietitian and certified life coach.
So it was actually throwing on a life coach hat. Then I discovered all this, the treasure trove of missing tools. And when you mentioned whole in terms of addressing things within a person, let's say somebody came to me and they have emotional eating, and it might be sugar, which we might talk about here today. If they have an emotional eating, maybe it's connected to they had a fight with their spouse, a teenager, and that's a trigger, and they don't realize this emotional connection. As a dietitian, I was maybe able to say, thou shalt not eat sugar or some sort of messaging like that, but not addressing the emotional piece and connecting it to relationships was a missing link for me. Now I have the tools to be able to bridge the two and get to the root of the problem or the challenge or the situation. And that now is holistic to me. And I do that by assessing 4 main areas of your life, which is health, career, relationship, and time and money.
Episode 38, Tanya Constantini Zimmerman. Tanya is the whisperer of possibilities and a sound alchemist focused on sound healing.
Even the ancient civilizations already knew that dis-ease starts outside of our body, actually. Yeah, it starts with the thoughts. It starts in our energy field. And if you have a persistent thought, like a negative thought or a worry or something, that starts to create a blockage in your energy field. When it shows up in our physical body, that's actually already the last instance. It starts way before, right? That's why what we said earlier, that your thoughts create your reality, and everything that happens is so powerful, because when we have the capacity to catch the things already, when they're still in thought form, still on an energetic level, then ideally we prevent from dis-ease showing up in our physical body.
Episode 41, Cheryl Prince. Cheryl is a retired nurse, Reiki practitioner, and holistic nutritionist.
Don't wait for your wake-up call to hit you. To me, it means don't wait until you're in that bed given your final diagnosis. I was a nurse. I watched people take that wake-up call and not be able to reverse what was going on, the damage that they've done. Take charge of your health today. It may be a little symptom, but that little symptom shouldn't be going on in your body. We are made in the best possible mass solution, whatever you want to call this whole temple. We are made for it to work optimally. The minute you start feeling something not working, seek out what is going on, because your body will give you symptoms far longer than it will give you the disease. So listen to your body.
Episode 46, Lynn Vollmer. Lynn is a belief work expert, instructor, mindset coach, and theta healing master.
If you think about our energy or our body being energy, right? If we believe something to be true 3 times or more, it
enters the subconscious mind as a belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about your body, like your cells, right? You have lots of different trillion cells in your body, right? And each cell has receptor sites, and these receptor sites have belief systems. They're either positive or negative, right? And this is what energetically goes out to the universe, and our subconscious mind never shuts off. We cannot understand consciously what is in the subconscious mind because you don't have access to that unless you bring a lot of awareness.
Episode 49, Jackie Finnamon. Jackie is a parent coach and strategist.
Take a look at your to-do list. Some people love to-do lists. Other people despise to-do lists, right? So take a look at, we all have a to-do list in one way, shape, or another, right? Take a look at that and really discover what is it that you absolutely have to be doing, that are essential to-dos that you really have to be doing. And then what are those things that you can delegate that maybe somebody else can do if you're willing to give up the control? A lot of busy people, a lot of us Mrs. Overdo It. It's not just about helping and all of that. It's also about control and we're kind of controlling. And so we got to take a look at ourselves and what does that mean for us? So look at the things that you absolutely don't need to do that you can delegate to other people, or you can just completely let go and don't need to pay attention to at all and just take them off. And so that's usually where I start.
Episode 51, Julie Jones. Julie is an intuitive coach, speaker, author, and podcast host.
Here's one of my tips that kind of goes along with this idea of slowing down is, believe it or not, people, we are not designed to be multitaskers. Woo! Tip number one, multitasking, right? Because here's the truth about it. And sometimes it's even been like a badge of honor, like especially for women. Oh my gosh, I got so much done and I was doing this and doing that and multitasking all day long, right? The brain can only focus in on one thing. So as much as you think that you're getting done, you're really not. It's in the slowing down that you find that you're more productive. See, we can be woo busy, as I call it. I love woo busy, right? We're woo busy doing this and doing that, and we're running around all over the place. And again, we get to the end of our day and we look back and we think, oh my gosh, what did I really get done? And so productive time, productive moments is so much more important.
Episode 53, Whitney Coburn. And Whitney is a love coach for women.
When we talk about the love languages and how different people receive, we have to think about the golden rule is not do unto others as you would have them do to you. When it comes to relationships, we need to treat others as they want to be treated, not necessarily how we want to be treated. And there is a big difference between masculine-driven people and feminine-driven people. And I say people because it's not always male, female. I'd say probably at least 80% of women lead with feminine energy and 80% of men lead with masculine energy. But understanding the differences between the masculine side and the feminine side is so important because we have different needs and desires and different ways that we communicate, as well as different ways that we need to be communicated to. And it's very complex. And it's one of those things that they don't teach you in school.
Episode 55, Luz Campagna. Luz is a leadership and life coach.
Self-love would have to be the regard that you have towards yourself. Is it a high regard, poor regard? From that stems self-esteem, probably self-confidence, self-worth, the ability to have compassion and kindness towards yourself. Those are all embedded under that self-love piece. Self-love is not about liking necessarily the way you look. It's about how do I treat myself? Anyway, there's a lot there, but it informs the way you view the world. Is the world out to get you?
Right.
Are you always the last to get noticed? Or
are you always the victim or?
Right. That's right. Or do you even deserve love? Or do you push it away before you even get it? Anyway, there's a lot of behavioral things that stem from that, but it's our template. It's the relationship with ourselves.
Episode 57, Trisha Parido. Trisha is a recovery lifestyle enthusiast, speaker, and published writer.
This is my life too. It gets to look, feel, be however I want it to. I get to choose.
I love that.
And so when I have that motto, what it also has done is it's allowed me to offer it to every other being on the planet, because who would I be to think that that only applies to me?
Right.
And so this allows me to stay out of the stance of a judger.
Mm-hmm.
This allows me to stay in a space of a learner.
Mm-hmm. And curiosity.
Somebody that is open to receiving,
mm-hmm.
to learning, to gaining, to expanding.
Yeah. Episode 59, Tim James. Tim is the creator of the chemical-free body supplement line.
Don't wait for your wake-up call. Well, I think it just means the best time to do anything is now. It's right now, because that's all we really have. Like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it. That doesn't exist, living in the past. I always tell people like that. The past and the future does not exist. Those are illusions. The only thing we have is right now, right now, right now, right now. So what that means to me is just like, if there's, especially if there's something you heard today that inspired you right now, that's just theory. You have to go take action. Mm-hmm. It's simply pure physics will take over at that time. What you put out is what you get back. So if you start taking action in a direction towards, you say, like, I'm worth it. I love myself. Okay, this sounds good. I'm going to start making some changes. And, I'm going to start making my health a priority. And that's usually what I find is that if you're not where you want health-wise, you just have not, your health is not a priority yet. As soon as you prioritize health, the universe will start realigning itself for you.
Episode 61, Tonya Rozier. Tanya is an energy healer, mindfulness coach, certified life coach, and her list of accreditations goes far longer than that.
Refusing to own the diagnosis. How about we talk about what's right with you?
Yes.
When you are balanced nutritionally, psychologically, holistically, you feel better. You feel joy. Like your saying says, I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are enough and health is everything. So when you look at health, like I am a pain educator. I teach biopsychosocial pain management because we want to tune down the pain signals that go from your mind to your body. Chronic pain does not have to control you. You can control your chronic pain by looking at things in your environment that contribute to what's making your pain scream at you. You don't necessarily need a pill, you need a purpose.
Episode 63, Diane Rando, a thought leader in spiritual and business development.
I've had a few wake-up calls, obviously. Really what it's about leaning into ourselves and building a deeper connection with who we are. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you don't have to wait for a near death to make the choice to go on a journey into your soul, right? And so it's about choosing now. What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your life? Choose it now. You don't have to wait. You can choose it right in this minute.
Episode 64, Lisa Brewer. Lisa is a doctor of metaphysics and divinity, CEO of Heart of Inspiration, and founder of the Practical Lightworker program.
When we surrender to the flow, what happens at first is we naturally feel a little bit nervous, right? Because we are our third dimensional self, our third dimensional brain and ego is relinquishing control to an energetic whatever soup, if you will, that it can't see, taste, touch, or feel or hear. And so when we do that, we don't really recognize that we're actually surrendering ourselves not to some external force, but to ourselves. We're actually just kind of allowing our spirit or our higher self. And so that energetic essence is what's having a human experience. So really it's our own humanity that's having this experience that we just kind of say, okay, I'm not going to actually control everything. I'm going to allow what's of my highest good to actually move me into the right direction.
Episode 66, Janet Olmstead. Janet is a play expert, author, and executive health coach.
I honestly think people deserve the option to find what works for them. And one of the assessments, personal assessments, I didn't want to actually call them worksheets because I don't want people to think of working out as this like negative, right? When you get to move you don't have to, but you get to play. So the personal assessment on what did you like to do as a kid? Because that is still available to us.
Mm-hmm.
You just because, we grow and age, but those things that brought us joy as a kid are still available.
Episode 70, Cheryl Brewster. Cheryl is a business intuitive, speaker, and ordained minister of metaphysics.
Intuition supports joy. Why is joy important? Well, we think better, we feel better, we're more creative, we're more innovative. And when we allow joy and accept joy, not only as our birthright, but as the most optimal way of creating prosperity. Because the definition of prosperity is the integration of the cold, hard facts in the physical world, whether that's a job or a house or security or cash or finances or whatever. But those things in and of themselves will not bring peace. There's a combination of things going on here.
Yes.
And that's why I like to talk about joy, because joy comes from the inside out.
Episode 72, Laura Michelle Powers. Laura Michelle is an entertainer, celebrity psychic, actress, model, host, singer, writer, and speaker.
In life, it's really important that we not blame ourselves, but take responsibility and understand that we got to where we are through a series of circumstances and choices. And on the one hand, that can feel very difficult. So in my situation, when I was through my big sort of life portal, life change, it was hard to acknowledge my piece in this toxic marriage or, being cheated on and lied to and all these things. Like, it was really difficult. But the truth is, if you can take ownership of that, not in a blaming way, but just in an acceptance, then you can change things. Whereas if you're in victim mode and everything is outside of yourself, that's a very weak position to be in terms of making change for the future. So it's not just for the moment, but it's also for the future so that you can be better positioned to move forward and be more empowered.
Episode 77, Susan Glucica. Susan is the CEO of Unrivaled Realizations and the author of the 7 Money Realities.
I'm on a mission to raise the money consciousness of the world for prosperity for all, right? And so in my work, I help and shift those money blocks so you can energetically attract more money and enjoy the freedoms that come with it. It's your natural state. I'm like Melissa, like you are doing. I'm here to connect you with that natural state of abundance when it comes to your money. Melissa's doing it when it comes to your health. So there's a lot of synergies and commonalities in how we approach. And we both like to explain the whys so you understand. So I explain, how does money energy work? Why do you want to lead with your financial frequency, right? What is all that about? And what does that do for you? And why do you want to step forward and serve from your highest level? Well, that's pretty easy because the world is depending on you to do so.
Episode 79, Justin Franston. Justin is an athleticism performance coach and EMF expert.
Get grounded by nature. You guys, it's free. Like, literally go outside, put your feet directly on the lawn or outside on the dirt, in the sand, in the ocean, in any body of water. Touch a tree with your hands. If it's too cold outside, root yourself and ground into Mother Nature. Like, that's the first thing that everyone has to do, is just get grounded by nature, because that'll help recharge your body battery. And then when you're out in nature, you're getting the sunlight from above, so you're getting those vitamins and nutrients and that positive charge that's unpolarized. And then you get the negative ionic charge, and then you're breathing all this incredible minerals from the different climates that you're in or microbiome, just enhancers from the minerals, no matter where you are. And that's really important. So the first step is just get outside and get grounded by nature.
Episode 81, Rick Olderman. Rick is a sports and orthopedic physical therapist.
You were talking about how you love to be a detective. And I love being a detective. And thankfully, I've had, lots of years of practice at it. But when you understand the body as a system, which is probably what we're going to be getting into a little bit here, being a detective helps you. It helps you look in those unlooked in parts before. And that's the thing about Sherlock Holmes. I mentioned that I have a little excerpt from a Sherlock Holmes book about how I've always wanted to be a detective. And one of the things about Sherlock Holmes is he's always looking at things that everyone else is ignoring. And that's exactly what I do when I'm trying to understand why people are having chronic pain and how to link their pain with how they're using their bodies.
Episode 83, Jason Cronin. Jason Cronin earned a master's degree in exercise science and has a black belt in Taekwondo.
Most people don't realize that when I ask someone what the dimensions of wellness are, they say the physical, the intellectual, the financial, sometimes they say the spiritual. But there are 8 dimensions, actually 9 dimensions. And the 9th dimension is actually creativity. So the first one's physical, then it's intellectual, financial, environmental, spiritual, social, occupational, and emotional. And creativity is what wraps it all together. Being creative in everything that you do will make you whole. Some people will actually be very physically fit, but mentally not healthy. You could be very, very wealthy and super ill, or someone may have millions of dollars, which I've worked for people that had millions of dollars, and they were on their deathbed and they actually passed away because they didn't take care of themselves. You got to have a balance. That's very, very important.
Episode 85, Chad Nedland. Chad is an entrepreneur, business coach, and author.
Without the start point, the best, most descriptive directions and plan will not get you to your destination. I mean, there's a chance, but it's 1 in a billion.
Exactly.
You'd be better off having no plan and just walking aimlessly through life than to have a specific plan and no start point.
Right.
So we says, well, I gotta find a way to make sure that people understand this principle, that they have to have that start point. They have to know their beginning in life. And it's not, where are you at physically, but where are you at in your life? If it's business, where are you at in your business? If it's your relationship, where are you at in your relationship? If it's your personal development, identify where you're at. Be so brutally honest that you would be embarrassed if you walked into the room and overheard yourself. Like, be so raw, because if you're not completely honest with where you're starting, you'll never actually get anywhere solid, because you'll be building on a false foundation.
Episode 89, Denise Baliel. Denise is a serenity expert and positive intelligence specialist.
I don't have to stay in that negative state. I can, move on and be happy, and I'm allowed. And then you quiet down those voices of your saboteur and you feel empowered, because when you give up to the saboteurs, you give your power away.
Yeah.
You give them the right to carry you around, wherever they want you to go. But once you start to become more in charge of your life, then you feel so empowered. You celebrate. Then that's the 5th step, is celebrating and reaping the reward of getting into a difficult situation. And all of a sudden you realize that you look around and you're thinking like, how come I'm feeling so good? And that's such a bad situation, because you've learned to not to get carried around by your emotion. There's something hard that just happened, but you handle it with grace and you handle it with serenity.
Episode 90, Holly Middleton. Holly is a movement coach. She will get you moving again and moving well without pain.
You imagine if you stubbed your toe as a kid and hobbled around, and then your body would be like, nope, no more walking. It's over. No, your brain says, well, we'll just hobble for a bit. We'll still be able to get around. The same thing with bigger injuries or surgeries or emotional experiences. They shape how you're moving, and we don't even know, because it's all programs running in the background. And so my work helps you shine a light on all those dark areas, take out those bugs in your movement programming, and bring them them back to you so that your body can start moving into those shapes that it's unfamiliar with, which then frees up the potential for you to be able to move in new ways that maybe feel better. They're more efficient. They're less painful. Your performance is better. If you're more of an athletic type of person, you can lift things faster or easier. You get stronger somehow without realizing why. And it's just simply getting all of those systems online again that you have no idea that you have, that in the background they have shut off.
So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this compilation episode. And I've shared with you over 30 different experts that can all guide you in various ways on your healing journey, in addition to the work that I do and can offer, getting to the root cause of your health issue using functional medicine labs that get mailed to your home, or doing a detox program, or both, or working with the power of your unconscious mind in order to start to get some quick shifts in your life, releasing negative emotions, releasing negative thoughts, and detoxing your mind and your emotions as well. So lots of choices for you, lots of ways to help our body heal holistically. And of course, that's what our body wants, is we are part of nature. And when we use natural forms with our body, we can work symbiotically with our body, and our body will bring itself, come back into balance through the support that we give it, and then heal itself. So thank you so much for listening. If you feel this episode could help anyone else in your life, please feel free to share it, and join us back next week as I bring another expert to you. This time I will be introducing you to my thermographer and giving you an option to mammograms in looking after your breast health. If you're enjoying my content and someone that wants to step into being proactive in your health and learning more, I would love to invite you to join my membership community. There's a link in the show notes. For only $19.99 a month, you get access to all of my content, and there's a lot, as well as weekly calls that you can come and get your health questions answered. It's truly priceless. I'd love to see you join the community. Check out the link in the show notes.